The planet Veyora was not a world of warriors or kings. It was a world of farmers. Endless plains of golden grain stretched beneath the light of twin suns, while the rivers carved silver veins across fertile valleys. For generations, humans had lived here in peace, far away from the noise of galactic wars. Among them lived Aric Dane, a man whose life was as ordinary as the soil he tilled. His days began before dawn, when the dew still clung to the crops, and ended long after the suns had set. He had no titles, no weapons, and no dreams of greatness. Yet destiny often chooses not the generals or the rulers, but the humble, the overlooked, the ones no one expects. Aric was known in the village for his stubborn ways, while others imported machines from off-world merchants, hover plows, drone harvesters, nutrient injectors. He refused. His calloused hands and weary oxen did the work instead. To the younger farmers, it seemed foolish. Why cling to the past, Aric? They would ask. He would only smile and say, because the land listens to those who respect it. Machines only command. What they saw as stubbornness was in truth discipline, and understanding that survival came not from speed or strength, but from patience and resilience. These lessons, carved into him by years of toil, would soon become weapons sharper than any blade. The illusion of peace shattered one harvest night. The villagers gathered in celebration, their laughter echoing beneath lanterns strung across the square. Then the stars disappeared. The sky turned red as jagged warships descended, tearing through the clouds like predators. The largest ship loomed above them, casting its shadow across the fields. A booming voice thundered from the heavens. I am Xyrrath, warlord of the Carthage Dominion. This world belongs to me now. Kneel or burn. Panic spread like wildfire. Mothers clutched their children, elders whispered prayers, and strong men fell silent in despair. Against such power, what could farmers do? Aric stood among them, his face hardened like stone. He felt the weight of fear pressing down, but deeper still, he felt the pull of something older, an instinct to protect the land that had raised him. He raised his voice over the chaos. We are not soldiers, but this is our home. If we kneel, we lose everything. If we resist, we may yet hold it. The villagers turned to him, not because he was powerful, but because his words carried the strength of truth. Far above, Warlord Xyrrath laughed, amused that a dirt-covered farmer dared to challenge him. That night, while others argued over surrender, Aric walked the fields alone. He watched the alien patrols slice through the skies, their beams scorching patches of farmland. To most, they were unstoppable machines of war. To Aric, they were predators, and every predator had weaknesses. He remembered the year of the locust plague, when billions of insects had threatened his crops. He had survived not by fighting them directly, but by outsmarting them, diverting, trapping, and suffocating them with smoke. As he stood beneath the twin moons, a thought struck him like lightning. War is only another harvest, and predators can be hunted. At dawn, he called the villagers together. Fear still gripped them, but Aric spoke with calm certainty. We cannot meet their strength with strength, he said, but we can fight them with the land. The soil, the rivers, the storms, they are ours, not theirs. He assigned tasks. Men dug trenches disguised as irrigation ditches, wide enough to swallow patrol walkers. Women painted wooden frames to resemble heavy cannons, setting them on the ridgelines as decoys. Children gathered tar and pitch to make smoke bombs. Each plan sounded impossible at first, but Aric's conviction was contagious. Slowly, hope flickered in their eyes. The first test came when a squad of alien raiders landed near the eastern fields. Expecting easy prey, they marched arrogantly, weapons glowing. But the ground beneath them collapsed, sending half their forces tumbling into concealed trenches. The rest, distracted by the smoke bombs, fired at the decoys, believing them to be human artillery. In the confusion, villagers struck from hiding with slings, crossbows, and farming tools tipped with sharpened metal. Against trained warriors, such weapons should have failed. But the aliens, blinded and disoriented, fell one by one. When the smoke cleared, the villagers had won their first victory. The village erupted in disbelief and joy, but Aric remained quiet. This was only the beginning, he warned. Xyrrath will not take this humiliation lightly. And he was right. From orbit, the warlord seethed with rage. No one had ever dared to resist him, much less peasants with wooden tools. His pride was wounded, and he swore to make an example of this world. He dispatched more troops, heavier weapons, and patrol ships to scour the countryside. But with every escalation, Aric's strategies grew bolder. Aric began to study the alien war machines as if they were crops or pests. He noticed how their energy rifles overheated after extended use, how their walkers moved sluggishly through mud, and how their pilots relied too heavily on targeting, systems that could be confused by reflective surfaces. The villagers, guided by his keen eye, adapted quickly. They flooded fields to trap heavy walkers, lined rivers with mirrored metal scraps to blind sensors, and lured ships into storms where lightning interfered with their systems. What began as desperation was turning into a campaign of cunning. With each small victory, the people grew braver. They sang as they dug traps, laughed as they painted decoys, and found strength in their unity. Aric walked among them, offering advice, encouragement, and sometimes only a reassuring nod. Though he had never asked for leadership, the villagers had given it to him willingly. To them, he was no longer just a farmer. He was their shield, their strategist, their voice of defiance. Still at night, Aric sat alone in his fields, staring at the stars and wondering if a simple farmer could truly stand against a galactic warlord. Xyrrath's patience broke. He descended to the surface himself, towering in black armor that shimmered with alien glyphs. His eyes burned with fury as he strode into the heart of the village, surrounded by guards. He expected fear, but found villagers standing firm behind Aric. The warlord sneered. "You are no warrior," he spat. "You have no fleet, no weapons, no empire. Why do you resist?" Aric met his gaze, steady as stone. "Because this land is ours, and no warlord can claim what people refuse to surrender." Xyrrath, enraged, challenged Aric directly. "Then let us see if a farmer can stand against a warlord." He drew a massive blade that crackled with plasma. The villagers gasped, but Aric did not flinch. He had no sword, no shield, only a farming scythe, its blade dulled by years of harvest. Yet in his hands it became more than a tool. The duel was brutal. Xyrrath struck with the force of a storm. But Aric moved with the patience of seasons, dodging, parrying, and waiting. Where the warlord fought with rage, Aric fought with rhythm, as steady as the turning of the earth. The battle dragged on. Sparks flew as plasma clashed with steel. Each time Aric seemed cornered, he used the terrain, the mud, the loose soil, the smoke of burning torches to shift the fight. The villagers watched in awe as their farmer, their humble brother, stood toe-to-toe with a galactic conqueror. Finally, as Xyrrath raised his blade for a killing strike, his foot sank into a patch of loosened soil Aric had prepared earlier. For the briefest moment, the warlord faltered, and in that moment Aric's scythe cut through his armor, felling him. Silence followed. The mighty warlord lay defeated, brought down not by armies or technology, but by the cunning of a farmer. His soldiers, leaderless and humiliated, retreated in disarray. The villagers erupted in cheers, lifting Aric onto their shoulders. He looked down at them, exhausted, the scythe still in his hand. "I am no hero," he said softly. "I only did what had to be done." But in their eyes, he was more than a hero. He was proof that courage could grow from the soil as surely as grain. In the days that followed, news of Veyora spread across the sector. Worlds oppressed by the Carthid. Dominion whispered of the farmer who had slain a warlord. To them, Aric Dane became a symbol, a legend, the man who had proved that even the smallest voice could defy tyranny. Yet Aric himself returned to his fields, to the soil and the seasons. For though he had changed the fate of a world, he remained what he had always been, a simple farmer, bound not to power or glory, but to the land that gave him strength.